Hello and happy Friday. Happy Friday, everybody. I know that the majority of the world loves this day and it is a celebrated occurrence every single week. So congratulations that it is Friday. This is a quick podcast, a little bit different from what you might be used to here, that is more meant for you to enjoy maybe on your commute to or from work, maybe while you're cooking up some breakfast or pouring a glass of wine after you get home, or maybe in the morning when you're getting ready doing your makeup. Hopefully this can give you a little positive jump start to your day and maybe also give you something to think about. This week I went on a rampage in my house. I was on an actual crusade within my home to organize every inch of it. And what I learned is that specific crusade is incredibly unrealistic. You can't live in a house for 2 years and within a couple days actually organize every single space. Is not possible, but I did make a ton of progress. I spent a lot of hours cleaning things out. And I think that this time of year kind of inspires me to do that. I think the warm weather gives me a little extra life. Like as soon as the warm weather hit, I was in the stores, buying a ton of plants. I was in my yard. I've planted so many things over the past week. I mean, so many. I think it was like 7 new rose bushes and 4 other things plus, I mean, it's just, anyway, doesn't matter. I would like to remind everyone along those lines that if you are wanting to do something in your yard, now is the time to do it. So you have a little bit of time before the heat of summer sets in. So if you're going to want to develop your yard a little further, now is the time to be thinking about that, to go out, get your plants, get them planted. I really think the best time is right before summer or right after summer for me. You can find you can find good deals on plants, but also plants just have a hard time in the super heat of summer. You are having to water them every single day anyway. So planting new stuff in the middle of the summer is doable, but not preferable. So there's your little reminder that if you want to do something in your yard, go out, get those plants right now. If you're local to the Richmond area, Trader Joe's has some little plants out front usually, but honestly, local greenhouses for me are the best place to get really cool plants for your yard. They're usually a little bit cheaper than you're gonna find them at like a Lowe's or Home Depot. Not always, so like don't come at me just because that's not always true. But I love looking in local greenhouses, local plant places that are locally owned. So little reminder to try and do that. If you're from the Richmond area, might I suggest the Glen Allen Greenhouse. There was another place I actually went to this past weekend that I can't remember the name of, so I will find out and I will be back with that information on the next episode of this. I want to skip back to the spring cleaning real quick. I would like to challenge anyone listening this weekend to find one tiny space in your home to fully clean it out. I'm not sending you on like a rampage against full multiple rooms like what I did. Don't do that. But even if it's literally just a drawer, at some point this weekend, pull the drawer out, empty it, wipe the drawer, go through the stuff, throw away things that aren't really being used, throw away things that you don't really need, donate things that like someone else could probably use better, and then put it all back in an organized fashion. I don't know what it is about that process that is so good for your mental health. I can just like feel myself pulling things back together in my mind from the clean out my house. And really that's probably why that had to happen. It's like I have 100 really important things that need to get done, but I could not focus knowing that my house was not in order. So that's my challenge for you this weekend. Find one drawer, find one tiny space Hopefully you're not like me and doing that one thing will not lead you into an entire episode of my entire house needs to be reorganized and taken apart and put back together. But if you are like me and that happens this weekend, good for you. You know, I mean, if you're in Richmond, it's not super warm this week. So if you were gonna do that in your house, I guess now's the time to do it before the warm weather fully sets in and then you're wasting time being indoors. Speaking of not being indoors, allergies are a thing that I forget about every single year. I don't know what's wrong with me. I guess I'm in total denial about having allergies, and every single spring I'm like, why do I feel like I have a runny, stuffy nose? And then I'm reminded about the allergies. But to be fair, I have 3 small kids, so it's also a little hard to tell the difference between allergies and having a cold because my kids' noses are running all the time. It's a constant cycle. They're getting a runny nose, they're coming off of a runny nose. Then they're getting a runny nose, they're coming off of a runny nose. People who don't have kids, please remind me what it's like. I mean, I can remember before kids, I was like, I have such a good immune system. I would get sick like once every 2 years. I just did not get sick very easily or very often. But I don't think it was so much I had a great immune system. I think that I was just like a clean person who avoided germs. And not that I will say, I do know parents that and please, I hope I don't get like, I hope that the heavens don't smite me for saying this. So you end up getting really sick. But I do know a lot of parents who have had it far worse than I have. I will say I probably have fared really well considering I have 3 small kids. I should probably spend a lot more time being a lot sicker than I am. But there's constant like a little bit of like runny nose, stuffiness. I'm like battling something all the time with them and their germs. But at the same time, every single spring, I do have some allergies and I'm definitely in denial about it. I think there's only been like once or twice that I've even taken medicine for it because I guess I just pretend like it's not really a thing. I pretend that it doesn't exist. Am I the only one that pretends not to have allergies? I do know a lot of people pretend to have allergies when they're sick. There are people that will like randomly in the middle of a season, you're like, you didn't have allergies, but now you're saying that you do. But summer's been going on for a month. What are you talking about? They're just sick. And then like a few days later, they're fine. And you're like, that was a sickness, friend. But I just like to be in denial about all of it. I don't like to be sick. I don't like to have allergies. I just like to pretend like I'm totally fine always. You know, a little denial never hurt anybody. Speaking of which, now on to the serious topic. There's this, you know, I think that we probably all experience this, and it's probably more we see something and we really notice it, and so then we notice it more everywhere else. Like there are these reoccurring themes, I guess is what I'm trying to say. There are these reoccurring themes that come up in life, and there's one for me over the last few days that keeps coming up, or I keep noticing it more, that I wanted to share. And basically the message of it is not your fault that you were hurt, but it is your responsibility to heal. And let me say that again. It is not your fault that you were hurt, but it is your responsibility to heal. And it's a heavy message. It's an important message. I think to anyone out there that has been hurt, which I would think is all of us in some way, and some people more than others. And, you know, I hope for you it's less rather than more. But on some level, at some points in life, we are hurt by other people. And although we are always in some way playing a part in the situation that we're in, whether we made decisions that put us in that environment, made decisions that left us in that relationship, interacted with a situation in a way that made it worse. I'm not saying that we didn't play a role in ending up in the wrong situations, but sometimes we really didn't. Like, sometimes there are hurts from childhood that you were put in that situation with those people, and at the end of the day, we're usually always doing our best. So no matter what the scenario was that ended up putting you in a place where somebody hurt you, you were doing your best, and it's not your fault if someone did something ugly to you. That is on them. That is their fault, and they're responsible for what they did to you. But the thought that it is our responsibility regardless to heal is so important and so powerful, because if we don't work on healing these wounds, we are going to make decisions in the future that spring from a place of that hurt, from those scars, from those wounds, instead of a place of healing and wholeness. And we can never reach our full potential or experience all of the great things we are meant to live and experience if we are not whole, if we are not healed, if we are not fully through something that we needed to process and address. And it's such a journey, and I'm not even going to start to pretend like I have that figured out. I have been listening. I just today started listening to some stuff that hopefully will help guide me through that, because it's such a heavy thing. And also, we're not always ready to start doing the healing. Sometimes there's a lot of processing and mourning that needs to happen before the healing can happen. And so wherever you are at in that journey, I just want you to know that you are not alone. You are not the only one that has been or is at whatever part of that journey you are in. But have faith that you are strong enough. You are strong enough to find that healing, to acknowledge what happened to you, to process what happened to you, to mourn what happened to you, and to heal from what happened to you. You can do that. We have what it takes. And on the other end, we will be whole. And we will be a better version of what we are. And I do believe that. I believe that's there for us. So there's my serious message for the day. The thing that was sitting with me. Thank you for allowing me to share it. On the silly side, if you want to have a chat about what spring cleaning you did this weekend, I would love to see it. I went absolute crazy in my house. If you are in denial about allergies, would love to hear that I'm not the only one. If you're going to be doing work in your yard, would love to see what you're doing or hear about what you are doing. I dubbed last year the year of the yard and went bananas on my yard, and I'm already off to a very strong start. At some point, I'm gonna need to stop because I live on a 1/4 acre, so I just don't know how many things you can really plant, but I'm taking it really far. So I love being outside. I love working in my yard. Like, that's my play outside. My outside play is absolutely getting my hands in the dirt. So would love to see what you're doing with that, and hopefully continue to share with my community about healing and the journey to become whole and a sweeter, wiser version of ourselves. So happy Friday again. You've got this going into a weekend. For most of you who aren't me, the weekend is very different from the work week. My days, times, and work periods get very jumbled together in real estate, but I hope that it's off to a beautiful start, and I will see you here. That's funny. In the podcast. I will meet you here again soon. Thank you.